It all began on a quiet Sunday morning, the kind of morning where sunlight spilled gently through stained glass windows, yet in the shadows of that chapel, a secret began to stir. One that would unravel lives, challenge vows, and ignite a forbidden fire that no prayer could ever contain. Imagine seeing the one person who awakens something in your soul you thought was buried forever, and knowing you must never act on it. That feeling, that pull, that dangerous heartbeat, it's intoxicating, irresistible, and utterly terrifying. Have you ever wondered what happens when desire collides with duty, when love whispers where it shouldn't, when a prayer opens the door to temptation? Disclaimer: this is a dramatic content for awareness and discussion only. This is the story of Isabella and Michael, two people whose paths crossed in a place of faith and reflection. In the small town of Brooksville, 2018, a community defined by tradition and expectations, Isabella, a devoted wife, came seeking peace and guidance. Michael, a young widowed pastor, was known for his kindness and gentle demeanor. But what seemed like a simple moment of connection in a sunlit chapel would soon spiral into an affair that neither of them could have predicted. A story that would test faith, morality, and the limits of the human heart. Isabella first noticed Michael during the morning service. He spoke with a sincerity that pierced through her carefully constructed life, a calm strength that drew her in like a moth to a flame. She tried to focus on the words of the sermon, to suppress the flutter in her chest, but the universe seemed to conspire against her, presenting subtle moments where their eyes met, where brief conversations lingered, where a shared smile held more meaning than it ever should. In 2018, Brooksville's small streets held whispers, and soon, Isabella found herself thinking about Michael outside of church, replaying every interaction with a mix of guilt and longing. She was married to Daniel, a steady, reliable man who provided comfort but had long ceased to ignite the fire she felt for Michael. Each day became a balancing act between devotion and desire. She prayed for clarity, for guidance, for the strength to resist, yet every prayer seemed to draw her closer to him. One evening, after the last rays of sun had disappeared behind the hills, Michael lingered after service, offering a word of comfort for a parishioner. Isabella, who had stayed behind, found herself walking beside him through the empty nave. Their conversation was innocent, yet every word was charged with an unspoken tension. Michael's voice trembled as he admitted a personal sorrow, and Isabella's heart ached with a sympathy she could not rationalize. In that moment, a bond formed, secret, fragile, and dangerously intimate. As the days passed, their encounters became more frequent. They started noticing each other's absence in ways that were subtle but undeniable. A glance at the grocery store, a fleeting text offering comfort, a shared lunch in secrecy. Each interaction pushed boundaries, each smile deepened the temptation. Isabella's life with Daniel, once stable, now felt like a cage she could no longer reconcile with her growing yearning. She questioned everything she had believed about loyalty, love, and the nature of her own heart. But what happens when a secret becomes more than fleeting moments, when the line between right and wrong blurs into something unrecognizable? How far would you go if a connection felt fated, yet forbidden? Isabella's next choice would ignite a chain of events that no prayer could undo. If this story has touched you so far, kindly comment, "I feel her struggle." Share this story with those who need to hear it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and follow for more real-life, emotional, and chilling stories on forbidden love. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Isabella couldn't stop thinking about Michael. Every moment away from him felt heavier, like a shadow pressing against her chest. She found herself retracing the paths they had walked together, remembering the way the sunlight caught in his hair, the soft cadence of his voice, the warmth of his presence that seemed to fill the empty spaces in her soul. She tried to rationalize it, telling herself it was just admiration, a fleeting infatuation, but deep down, she knew it had crossed into something far more dangerous. One rainy afternoon, she received a message from Michael, a simple note of concern about her well-being after hearing she had caught a cold. Her heart raced, her hands shook, and she realized that even a few words from him could unravel the careful control she had over her emotions. Brooksville, despite its quiet streets and quaint coffee shops, began to feel suffocating. Every encounter, every whispered prayer in the chapel, every passing glance held the weight of unspoken desire. Isabella tried to maintain the illusion of normalcy at home, laughing with Daniel at dinner, discussing mundane chores, hiding the storm that raged inside. But her mind was never truly at rest. Every mundane moment became a test of her resolve. She found herself daydreaming about Michael in ways she could never admit, imagining stolen afternoons, secret conversations, and the impossible thrill of being seen for who she truly was. Then came the day that changed everything. The church announced a community retreat in the neighboring town, a weekend gathering for fellowship and reflection. Isabella knew that Michael would be there, and the thought of spending hours in close proximity with him, away from prying eyes, sent both fear and exhilaration coursing through her veins. The night before the retreat, she could barely sleep, tossing and turning with the weight of anticipation and dread. She prayed, asking for guidance, yet every prayer seemed to echo her own conflicted desires. When the retreat began, Isabella and Michael were assigned to the same small discussion group. The first hours were filled with laughter, casual conversation, and moments that felt innocent but were charged with an intensity neither could ignore. At one point, as they walked to the lake for reflection exercises, a sudden downpour forced them to take shelter under a small gazebo. The rain pattered on the roof, creating a cocoon of sound, and they found themselves standing closer than ever, their hands brushing almost accidentally. Time seemed to pause, and in that suspended moment, the world outside ceased to exist. Every moral boundary, every vow, every societal expectation felt miles away. They began meeting in secret, ostensibly for discussions or community projects, but each meeting held a magnetic pull that neither could resist. Isabella's emotions were a turbulent storm, exhilaration, guilt, longing, and fear coexisting in a raw, unfiltered mix. She began to write in a journal, pouring out feelings she could never speak aloud, tracing the contours of a heart divided. Michael, too, wrestled with the conflict between his duty as a pastor and the undeniable connection he felt with her. Late nights were spent in prayer, questioning the morality of their bond, yet drawn inexorably closer with each stolen glance and lingering touch. Then one evening, the retreat ended with a bonfire by the lake. Shadows danced across their faces, the flames reflecting unspoken truths. Michael reached out, gently touching Isabella's hand, and the world seemed to shatter around them. Their hearts pounded in unison, yet both understood the precipice they teetered on. In that charged silence, one question hung in the air: could they truly resist the temptation, or had fate already sealed their path? And just as Isabella thought she could retreat back into her carefully constructed life, a message arrived from someone neither of them expected, a message that threatened to expose everything, a message that would force them to confront the consequences of a desire that had grown beyond prayer, beyond reason, and beyond control. How far would they go to protect what was already impossible? Who would discover the secret they both tried to bury? If this story has gripped your heart so far, kindly comment. I feel the tension. Share this story with those who need to watch it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and follow for more forbidden, chilling, and emotional tales. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell. The message burned on Isabella's phone like a brand, its sender unknown, its content cryptic but unmistakably threatening. Michael was beside her when she read it, his brow furrowed, eyes scanning the words with attention that mirrored her own. Whoever had sent it knew more than they should. Whoever had sent it had seen the fragile boundary between desire and destruction that Isabella and Michael were desperately clinging to. The note hinted at secrets uncovered, a shadowy observer watching from the periphery of their lives, waiting for a moment of weakness to strike. In that instant, the exhilaration of their forbidden connection collided violently with fear, leaving them both paralyzed with the knowledge that the world outside was not blind, that their heart's rebellion had consequences far beyond their private longing. Isabella felt the first surge of panic she could not suppress. She had imagined secrecy as a shield, but now that shield had cracks, and through them, a storm threatened to pour in. Michael, usually calm and composed, appeared uncharacteristically tense. He whispered that they needed to remain careful, that every interaction would now carry risk, and yet in his eyes was a flicker of something dangerous, something unspeakable, an acknowledgement that even danger could not break the pull between them. They made a silent agreement that night, under the cover of darkness, to continue their clandestine meetings, but with caution now sharpened by the gnawing bite of external threat. Over the next weeks, Brooksville itself seemed to transform in their eyes. Every familiar street corner, every public gathering, every innocent smile from neighbors became potential surveillance. They communicated in coded messages, meeting in quiet corners of the local library, the muted hum of the town masking the storm within their hearts. Each stolen conversation was electric, each accidental touch a jolt that sent pulses racing, yet both were acutely aware that one slip could shatter everything. Isabella's journal grew thick with ink, a repository for confessions she could never voice aloud, and Michael's sermons became more fervent, almost penitent, as if preaching to a congregation he feared he might betray. Then came the Winter Gala, a community event that neither could avoid. Surrounded by friends and neighbors, laughter and music masking the tension that had become their constant companion, Isabella and Michael were forced into proximity. Every gesture, every glance, carried a secret weight. Michael's hand brushed hers near the punch bowl, and she felt electricity shoot up her arm. He leaned in, whispering a question so softly that only she could hear it. "Can we survive this?" The words were loaded with despair and longing, yet their meaning remained suspended in the air, unresolved. Their hearts beat in tandem, trapped between desire and duty, caught in a storm that no one outside could see. But secrets rarely remain buried. One evening, while Isabella returned home late after a secret meeting at the church grounds, she noticed a car parked near her driveway, a car that shouldn't have been there. The silhouette of a figure inside was unmistakable, and her stomach twisted with dread. Was it the sender of the threatening message? Was it someone from the community who had finally begun to piece together their story? Every instinct screamed at her to run, yet curiosity and a sense of inevitability rooted her in place. She stepped closer, heart hammering, when the figure emerged, a single envelope extended toward her. Her name was written in precise, deliberate handwriting. She hesitated, knowing that whatever was inside could unravel everything, yet an irresistible pull compelled her to accept it. As she tore it open, Michael's words came to her mind, echoing like a cautionary prayer. "Can we survive this?" The message inside was chilling, a revelation that threatened to expose not only their connection but the depth of emotions neither of them had allowed themselves to fully confront. Was this the end of their secret, or the beginning of a darker, more dangerous chapter? What would happen if their hidden desires were dragged into the light? If this story has gripped you so far, kindly comment. The tension is unbearable. Share this story with those who need to witness it. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and follow for more forbidden, emotional, and chilling tales. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell. The envelope trembled in Isabella's hands, its contents as heavy as the air around her. Inside was a series of photographs, images of her and Michael from their secret meetings, their stolen moments captured with a precision that made her stomach drop. Each picture was a dagger of exposure, yet also a testament to the intensity of their forbidden love. Her mind raced, a storm of fear, guilt, and undeniable longing. How had someone gotten so close without being noticed? And why? The message accompanying the photographs was brief but terrifying. Everyone sees what you think is hidden. Choose wisely, or it will all come crashing down. Michael arrived moments later, breathless from rushing across town, and saw the fear etched on Isabella's face. His gaze fell on the photographs, and the reality hit him with a cold clarity. They were no longer merely clandestine lovers. They were at the mercy of someone who understood their hearts, someone willing to manipulate, control, and destroy the fragile sanctuary they had built. The intensity between them ignited, not just desire, but defiance. He held her close, whispering, "We'll face this together. Nothing can erase what we've found in each other." Yet the words rang hollow against the undeniable threat looming over them. Every secret, every kiss, every tender confession now carried the weight of potential catastrophe. Over the following days, Brooksville became a landscape of paranoia and tension. Michael and Isabella navigated their daily lives with the precision of spies, careful gestures in public, coded glances, and whispered conversations. The photographs had exposed them, but they refused to let fear dominate their hearts. Even as the threat grew, so did their connection, deeper, more desperate, a tether that no external force could sever. They found themselves sneaking into empty rooms, church balconies at sunset, and quiet alleyways just to feel the electric pulse of their forbidden bond. Each encounter was a stolen heaven, a heartbeat away from ruin. Then, just when they thought they had maintained some semblance of control, the unthinkable happened. A confrontation at the town's library, where they had always felt safe, ended with a chilling face-off. The shadow behind the messages, the person who had orchestrated the exposure, emerged, a figure familiar yet terrifying, someone who had walked unnoticed through their lives, someone who understood the delicate balance between desire and destruction. Words were exchanged, threats veiled in civility, and a quiet power struggle unfolded, leaving Isabella and Michael trapped between defiance and fear. They realized that love, no matter how profound, could not always protect them from consequences they could not foresee. In the aftermath, as winter clouds gathered over Brooksville, Isabella sat alone by her window, photographs spread before her, and Michael's absence a sharp ache in her chest. Every choice, every whispered word, every secret embrace had led to this moment of reckoning. Their hearts yearned for each other, yet the world pressed down with a weight they could not escape. Was love enough to withstand the scrutiny of a world eager to judge? Could two souls so intertwined survive a storm that threatened not only their happiness but their very freedom? The line between longing and peril blurred, leaving them teetering on the edge of fate, suspended between hope and despair. The story of Isabella and Michael, of desire and danger, was far from over. Each heartbeat, each glance, each whispered confession became a silent vow of endurance against the forces that sought to tear them apart. And as the night deepened, a single, haunting question lingered in the shadows. Would the world ever allow their love to exist? Or was their passion destined to remain forever in the shadows? A forbidden tale whispered only in stolen moments? If this story has stirred your soul, kindly comment. Love against all odds. Share this story with everyone who craves the intensity of forbidden romance. Subscribe to Taboo Romance Stories TVc, and follow for more heart-wrenching, emotional, and chilling tales. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to stay on the edge of passion, suspense, and heartbreak. This is Taboo Romance Stories TVc, forbidden romance stories, told like never before. Stay with us for more gripping tales of passion, desire, and heartbreak that defy the rules of love and life.